stream number 2. Which is, I mean, that is a different stream now. Like I said, my original plan, if you didn't attend stream 1, was this was going to be 2 kind of a continuous stream split across 2 different times, but that didn't quite work out. I mean, it did. I shouldn't say it didn't quite work out. It just didn't fit quite with what I was doing. So, where is, there it is. Retweet. Okay. I have now sent this to all relevant, locations. Okay. So now, well, I'm going to wait a few minutes. I'm going to be patient and wait and lean back. It is so nice to be using this mic now. I really can't get over how fun it is to use this mic. Hard to express. You know what I'm going to do? You know what I'm going to do? Because there ain't no cure for the summertime blues. Let me see something. Let me see if I can do this really quick while I'm... okay, let me try something really fast here. Let's see. That did it download? Here it is. Okay, let's do this real fast. Real fast since I'm here. Since I'm waiting, I'm going to give this a few minutes. Oh, I see somebody showed up. Hello. I'm giving this a few minutes, and in the meantime, in the background, I really wish this thing would... maybe it does, and I don't know how. I don't see any way where it'll tell you who showed up. Because I would like to say hello name. It's fine, but it's not really anything. Whereas hello name is a little nicer to me. I try to be nice where I can. So, anyway, whatever. There isn't a way that I'm aware of. So, I'm going to do a... Actually, can I do this while... I guess I can. I guess I can do this. I don't know. We'll see. I'm going to try to very quickly actually update. I was going to try to do it before anybody showed up, but obviously I wasn't that quick, which is fine. I'm just going to do this, and I'm going to say select all. I'm just doing this in the background. You can't see it, but all I'm doing is a very fast Photoshop job to see how ugly it'll be. If I'm lucky... Ooh, wow, really? Man, that's almost dead on. Fascinating. I might not have to do much at all with this. Really? It's that close? Huh. Well, it's a little off. Hold on a minute. Let me do this really quick. Ooh, I don't know if that's going to mess with things. Bear with me for 1 second here. I'm just checking something because let me do this. Oh, I have to hit this first. Just doing this. This is terrible to be doing in the background, but that's just what it is. Oh, you know what? Forget it. It's going to be too much effort. I'm not going to bother. It honestly doesn't matter. So I'm just going to close this. Nobody cares. I'll fix it later. Okay, let's get going here. Because I don't... Oh, actually, I turned on the keyboard when I don't need to. All right. Let's go ahead and do our little thing. Just to keep everything official. Since this is technically a second stream, we'll go ahead and do this. Get this set up. Okay. Let me get my skull here. Jeez. Magnetic iPad cover was trying to pull things with it. Things I didn't want to be pulled with it. Okay. We'll do this on the fly. Just wait for it to fade. Honestly, I don't, the countdown thing was always kind of, I think that was more for, with this one, it doesn't matter as much because it fades the black pretty gradually. So it's not hard to miss. I did want to pay attention though, because I think one of them, just looking at some, yeah, I don't know why the bride fades out slower. I guess I screwed that up when I did that export or something. Anyway, okay. Back to the skull. The fun skull. Okay, here we go. Let's take a look. So let's do these inner lines, because I think these might turn out to be really neat. I think that's the right size. Oh, yeah, I did. Okay, I left it. Good. Oh, size equal. See, look, I left myself a note. I forgot. I left myself a note. That's great. Am I on the right layer? Yeah, I am. Okay. Okay. No, I'm not. There, now I am. Rings. I called it rings. Okay, so Let's just start doing these. So these are just going to be inner, kind of almost like tree rings. I did this on another, I mentioned this, I think, in the last stream, that I did a Brad Dourif image where I did something a little bit weird with his hair. And I did basically his hair with these little spirals. And they were like spirals on spirals. And I thought it was kind of a neat... I've done that a few times with a few different images. And it's... I'm always sure it's not going to work. And I don't think it hasn't... I haven't done it a lot. I think I've done it 3 times total. But every time I've done it, it's worked. So I don't know if it's because I'm reluctant to do it. Sorry for yawning. I don't know why I'm yawning. I'm not tired. I'm really not. Wait. Okay, no, that's good. So either I'm just subconsciously or unconsciously picking the correct material for the actual rings, or I'm just getting lucky. Could be either one, honestly. So yeah, we're going to do the rings here. And I should have a little block of time. What time is it? Probably close to an hour tonight we'll do work here. A little bit of a larger chunk of time than usual. My sound levels still look good. That's plus. And then, because I normally Wednesdays don't work out for streaming. Not because I don't have any free time, but generally because I don't like to stream if I can avoid it for less than 30 minutes. I feel like that's... I don't know. I kind of like the... 45 minutes is sort of the magic number. Although that's flexible. That's not a hard and fast rule by any stretch. But I don't like to do it for less than 30 minutes. I don't know why. It's sort of like a weird mental thing with me where I just feel like, if I'm going to stream, do it for a good amount of time. I think those rings are going to look good. I really think those, although the problem is, zooming out, I don't know, it's going to be hard to see them. So I'm pretty sure I'm going to have to bump this background gray up a little bit. But I don't mind it because with the rings, that'll give it some texture that it wouldn't have had ordinarily, so I don't really mind that. And I will have I'm going to do a weekend stream at some point in the near future. And try to do it. I mean, early is a relative term, but early for me, because I know there are people in different time zones. And I think I did one other stream that was somewhat early, or earlier again for me, but maybe not so early for others. I'm going to try to do that in a few weeks, because I know I'm going to have a big block of time, basically a day where... I may have a couple days where I'm not doing much of anything. We'll see. So, yeah. But there we go. Yeah, I think these rings... The only problem with doing the rings, I'm doing them kind of upside down because otherwise my finger obscures everything. So, I'm also trying to figure out if I might have a way. My wife and I do Bob Ross. We follow along with Bob Ross and do painting on the weekends. And some of those paintings, I mean, some of them come out well. Some of them come out really horrifically. But I'm kind of thinking maybe to try to do something with that. I mean, it's going to be a lot to try to figure out. And I've never done it before. So I don't have a ton of cameras. I have 2 mics. So I know the mic situation would be fine. I could mic us both up. Assuming my wife wants to actually be a part of a stream. I wouldn't have any problem with it. Because I don't... We both... Depending on how the painting is going, we'll get frustrated and kind of say screw it to the painting and just stop. I get angry at it, but I'll usually try to muscle through it. Sometimes my wife gets very dejected when a painting doesn't go. And I understand it because I have the same reaction, really. It's just that I think it's just because I'm an artist and I'm used to... Sorry, I don't know why I'm yawning. Yeah. That's horrifically rude. I apologize. Anyway, I think because because I've done artwork for so long and I'm very comfortable is the wrong word, but acquainted with the fact that what I want to express doesn't happen. Maybe that's why for me it's a little easier for me to just kind of go, okay, whatever, and not let it bother me, is because I'm used to the disconnect. I mean, it is different. It's different when you, and this is both the good thing and, in a sense, a negative about the way Bob Ross did his show, is he was always very encouraging in terms of saying, make whatever you want, don't worry about mistakes. There are, that's a happy accidents thing, which is great. It's great. But the other side of that is when he would say things like, okay, so we're going to put a river here and we're just going to do this. And it's that easy. And that assumes a whole bunch in terms of the person that is trying to follow along, in terms of how easy it may or may not be. Don't get me wrong, this is not really a criticism, but it can be very frustrating and disheartening when somebody says, oh, this is as simple as it is. Just do this, this. And on their canvas, it looks magnificent because, of course, it's the same as me saying, oh, you want to do rings like this? Well, just do rings like this. Ooh, I made that one way too... That one, I got away from me a little bit, so let me just fix that. I don't like that. Right, so I can say, oh, just make rings like this. It's very easy. Of course, it isn't easy. It isn't easy if you don't, you don't really... It's easy for me to say it, and it's easy for me to do this because I've done it so many times. I've done this forever. And in my head, I can largely see where this is going to go. This is not something where I'm really too concerned about it not going the way I want, because I'm largely just following lines. But for some people, just being able to space these lines properly is probably not going to be all that simple. And that could be for any variety of reasons. Maybe your hand-eye coordination simply isn't there. Or you have maybe it's a sight perception thing where, and I have somewhat, I have something like this where there are times, I'll give you an example, I'll zoom in so you can see what I mean. So this is just as common for me. There are times where I'm trying to draw, let's say, a parallel line where I'm trying to do something exactly, and I will just veer into the other line like that, which I don't want to do. And I'll erase it, and I'll go back, and I'll very distinctly try not to do it in the same thing. Now that's a bad example. That wasn't a bad line. But I'll be following, and veer into it again. And no matter, I'll do it a dozen times. And it's not that I'm not concentrating or I'm distracted. It's just something about the way that my perception is working that I will inevitably smash into that line, even if I'm very determined not to do it. So I understand that the frustration of that when somebody says, oh, it's this simple. So I try whenever I don't do a lot of instructional anything, but I try not to ever allow my familiarity or comfort level with something to color how I'm going to show somebody else how to do it. I just assume that it's tough because I'm the same way about things. There's stuff that people do. Musicians, music is like wizardry to me because I can't understand how composers do it. I can't wrap my skull around around how composers are able to. I don't even know where they start. It's really strange to me how composers can work, because they can explain it to me, and I know people who have. They've explained, oh, this is my process. And I could nod my head and say, oh, yeah, all right, yeah, oh, got it. Yeah, no, it makes complete sense. It doesn't make any sense. I'm nodding my head to nothing. It doesn't make sense. Artwork's like that. So Bob Ross will do certain things. We will do exactly what he's saying. Won't look like his does. Sometimes, once in a while, we get lucky and it does. I've had that a few times where he said something and I've actually... The knife is my biggest frustration point. I generally cannot get a paint knife to do what he does with it. I really like those lines. Boy, do I like those lines. Those ring lines. But yeah, I think I'm going to have to lighten this a little bit, because I have a feeling that's too dark for... Oh, okay, I thought I screwed something up there. I didn't. You know what I am going to do? That's the light grays, right? I'm going to put the light grays in the background of everything. It's throwing me off that it's not there. So let me just do a quick fill in here. Just so that that's there. And just in case for some reason I wanted it, it's good to do that anyway. Just to have it. Okay, that's fine. Let me just... okay, there we go. Let's just go ahead and erase some of this bleed over. Doesn't really matter. It's not tremendously important to do this. This is more of me just wanting it to look clean, but this is a zero impact type of thing. Leaving those grays there affects absolutely nothing. And erasing them also affects absolutely nothing. So, whatever. All right, so, yeah, I think I got to lighten these. I think so, right? I think I got to. I think I have to. A little bit. Oh, I lightened the wrong things. Sorry. Wrong one. Darkest gray. There we go. Right layer. Not much. I think I'll do a little. That might be enough right there. Just a 5%er. Yeah. That's good. That's just going to enhance those lines. Boy, do I dig that. Still frightening to me that this is working out so well, because I'm like, what's going to go wrong? What's going to go south? Something's got to go south. Okay, this is going to be a really wacky line, because I'm going to try to follow the nose here. Okay, here we go. Let's just crag it out. I see now my hand is a little bit, or my finger is a little bit obscured from my vision, but you know, I'm just going to go with that as a way to kind of go, okay, imperfections are good. Not every line has to be something like this, especially with a skeleton where I'm trying to depict imperfections. It's good to have a little bit of variance there. But I am going to flip it over now and do it this way because I will not be able to see. I'll end up running over lines, which variance is good, but complete sloppiness is not. So, can do it. All right. So, okay. All right. We'll just follow that in there. Okay. All right, we'll do that. Just out of curiosity, Craig, is that you are you the viewer? If you are, hello, Craig. If you're not, sorry to get your name wrong, whoever's there. It's just weird to me that they don't have a thing that would easily show names. I don't understand it. That doesn't seem like it would be all that difficult to feature for something that's supposed to be kind of community driven, right? Maybe I'm nuts. Okay, I know I'm not going to be able to make that line. There's no way I'm going to be able to button hook. Oh, no, maybe I am. Wait a minute. Okay, no, maybe I can. I thought that was going to be too tight, but it might not be. Let's find out. Let's see what we got here. Okay, come on. Come on, let's see. Just being quiet for a minute so I can concentrate on this. Yeah, I think that's going to work. If not, it'll be easy to just go over that. Okay. All right, let's see. I'm going to have something there, so I'll do that. That gives me the interior of that. Okay. All right. No, I don't like the look of it, though. Hold on. Maybe I need to sharpen this a little like that. Maybe that'll do it. No, I don't like that either. Screw it. You know what? My initial impulse was correct. This is not meant to be done that way. We're going to do it like this. Yep, that looks better to me. We're going to go with that. So, again, nice part about digital. If I did that on pen and ink, I would be stuck with it. And I would probably, I'd just go, okay, well, it's... And by the way, that's not a bad, just to make sure I don't steer anybody the wrong way. It is actually good to screw up. That is actually a good drawing technique, is to do things and when you encounter the errors, try to work around them. That is a value too. So it's not as if that's a complete waste. Although, going back and telling my 18-year-old self that, I'd probably get a pretty disrespectful response to myself. Because I threw a lot of things away. Lots of things got tossed. Ah, boy, no, that's not going to work. Let me see. Let's go like this. This should work. There we go. Did not have the level of patience for things that I do now. Not that I'm really overly patient. I shouldn't pretend like I am. I don't have infinite patience. But I do try to not, go crazy about things. Because often it doesn't help anyway. Whoops. Oh, I got to turn off that feature. I never use it anyway. The double tap on the Apple Pencil. Neat idea. I never really used it, though. I enabled it. I used it for a day or two and then went, I don't really care. Would be way better if they had a thing where you turned it over and it was an eraser. That would be a useful feature. Whether that Procreate did it on their app or that Apple did it within the actual pencil. Dealer's choice. I don't really care. But if somebody could do that, please, I'd be very appreciative. Procreate does... This is a really great program, I have to say. I think I used Paper first, or Sketch. It was a much more simplified version of this. And then when this came out, and this has evolved tremendously compared to where it was. I'm sure there's places where you can go and look at the early versions of the app, and it was... I mean, it was always good. It was useful from day one. But it's gotten far, far better. But the basics of it were there. I mean, it was well formed from the beginning. So I don't want to make it like it was, kind of a junky app and then it's recently gotten better. It was always good, but they have definitely, the team, I assume this has to be more than one person. The team has definitely evolved this product very well. And I think taking advantage of where Adobe kind of left an opening. So good for them. I hope they stay independent. Hope they don't get acquired by somebody, but it's almost inevitable, right? They're going to get acquired. Everybody gets acquired. That's how business works now. Is your success is simply a down payment on future acquisition, which I don't know how good that is for, well, everybody in the long run, but being that I'm not an economist and nobody cares what I think about economic things, I shall end my comments thus. Proceed in drawing little rings. Drawing rings. Okay. Yeah, I think those rings give this a nice... The interior space is this kind of nice weathered texture thing. Could be wrong. May end up looking really crappy in the end result, but I don't think so. And I don't remember why I thought of these. I don't remember if I did it I think I just did it. That's some of the fun. That's the most fun of doing artwork in general. Yeah, I can't leave that. That's too much for me. Is the spontaneity of it. Is having a random idea and then thinking, you know what, that random idea is going to work. There we go. That's better. Just don't like those lines too tight. It's just not for me. But yeah, spontaneity, English is a fun language if you ever learn to speak it. Spontaneity, I zoomed in too far, I didn't realize what I was doing, is some of the best stuff that you'll do in artwork is just because that is where that's why I was talking about it's fun to work with errors. Because some errors don't actually turn out to be errors. You think they are because they may, whatever you're doing may not fit into what you had in your mind as far as how the image would work. But sometimes that's okay, and sometimes those accidents will lead you to something, possibly a technique that you never tried before, or one that you might reconsider in a different way. Maybe you do something in a different way than somebody else does and realize that really works for you. That stuff can happen. I am now getting hungry. I'll be having some BLTs later. Bacon being one of those things I just can't give up. There's a lot of stuff, because my wife is vegetarian, and I don't like the idea of people having to eat different types of meals. So I've largely gone vegetarian. It's really not that difficult. And I used to eat meat all the time. I mean, I lived on hamburgers. Not that hard. Not telling anybody they have to do it or anything like that. I'm not trying to convert anybody. Everybody eats what you want. But I didn't find it that difficult. A lot of fake meat now is actually really good, as long as you're not eating it by itself. I mean, if you just sit there and eat the meatless like chicken nuggets with nothing on them, you're gonna notice that they're not chicken nuggets. But you put barbecue sauce or something on them, or cheese or whatever, you're gonna notice that. You're not gonna notice. I not really. I mean, you might notice in principle because you're opposed to the entire idea. But would you really recognize the difference? Nah. Especially because a lot of food now it tastes so different anyway, and is doesn't have the same kind of flavor profiles. You know, like McDonald's fries, they use a different oil now or something. I think it's the oil that's different, and they just taste. I mean, don't get me wrong, they're still good. I still have them once in a while because I do like them. Man, look at those ridges. Boy, do I like those ridges. Anyway, but since they changed whatever that recipe was, they're not quite as good as they used to be. Which isn't, again, to say that they're bad. It's just, it's a different thing. So, where was I going with that? How did I get to McDonald's fries? What was I talking about? Oh, because I'm hungry and talking about, ooh, no, that's too sharp a diversion. No. That's not going to work for me. That's not going to work for me. And going to vegetarian stuff. Like I said, I'm not trying to be some kind of, advocate or anything like that. But when people have asked me, well, why is it a health thing or a eco thing? It's sort of both, to be honest. I don't like the idea of, I say this as somebody who's going to be eating bacon later, which, doesn't come off trees. But I don't like a lot of the way that farming and that type of stuff works. And that's not to say I don't like farmers or anything. It's me. You say something about industrialized agriculture. Oh, well, what do you hate farmers? No, I don't hate farmers. Don't hate farmers. I have anything against farmers. I think in some ways they can only make the food the way that it makes economic sense for them. So I can't necessarily blame them. It's to do things in a truly sustainable and humane way would be extraordinarily costly. So I get why they can't do it, but I don't think it's such a bad idea to look at alternatives to things. Let's put it like that. And that's also beneficial for people who have allergies and that type of thing to different stuff. So a lot of this becomes beneficial no matter what, even if it isn't necessarily in a eat less meat kind of way. It's good that we have alternatives for people. It's good that we can accommodate people for different things. Really, I was talking to somebody and I said, honestly, so many of the problems that we have in the world, and not to sound like I've got all the answers. I know the answers, everybody. But it feels to me, let me state it like that. That way I kind of keep myself without seeming like I'm coming across as smarter than I am, because I'm not that smart. But it does feel to me like many of the friction points and many of the things that people get so upset about really just have to come down to a handful of that the roots of the issues. I'll say this like this. The roots of the issues come down to only a handful of things. One of them is being able to accommodate people. And I'm talking about reasonable stuff. I'm not talking about being crazy. I'm just talking about allowing people the space to be themselves and whatever it is, as long as it's not hurting anybody else. Another thing is empathy. I think empathy is another one. I don't know if it was Lando or somebody else who I was talking about. Said, the best weapon we could ever make would be an empathy bomb. Something where you detonate it, and every person that you see, this bomb makes you experience something of their lives. To live, not in their shoes necessarily, but to be able to understand them. And that's regardless of what the belief systems are. It really doesn't matter. We get very hung up on who believes in what and what label you assign yourself and all that stuff. And honestly, none of that stuff it doesn't really matter. What matters is the ability to see somebody else. Oh, man. Really? That happens once in a while. It annoys me. But it's okay. It's an art stream. Therefore, it just provides me the opportunity to draw more. But yeah, if we were just able to understand each other, and it sounds hippy-dippy, I know, and it is. It is kind of like, hey, man, the universe is just love type of stuff. And saying that, I'm certainly not somebody that most people would hear talk and listen to and see and say, yeah, that guy strikes me as a hippie, but I guess I kind of am in that way. I don't know. I both, what's the word for it? It's not sympathy. What's the word for it? I feel like there are times where I'm extraordinarily oversensitive to things and other times where I'm extremely cold to everything. Maybe that's just the nature of being a person. I don't know. But like I said, yeah, I look at a lot of the problems we have and I think it's... And I'm talking about almost anything. It's not even specifically one particular problem or another. But so many of these things would just be, I think, if not fixed, certainly minimized. Maybe that's the right word for it. Not eliminated, but minimized. Simply by being able to understand each other a little bit better. Being able to look at the person next to you and hear them say something and not, oh, that's wrong. They're idiots. Or, whatever the phrase would be. Instead, be able to understand where that opinion or that thought process or that way of seeing the world comes from. Because, we all see the world very differently. It doesn't seem like that when you're in your own head. You think, well, this is how the world is, because that's how you see it. It is very tough, I'll admit. I'm not going to pretend it's simple. It isn't. It's not easy to be able to step outside your own perspective and experience and really try to understand what somebody else's is. It's very difficult, as a matter of fact. It's very difficult. What's the word for it? It's not that the actual understanding is difficult. It's the ability to ingest difference without feeling that it threatens everything that you believe in. Because I think some people look at it that way. They think if they stretch a little in their belief set, then that's going to somehow just destroy their entire way of being and who they are, their personhood. And it doesn't. I mean, it really doesn't for most things. I'm not going to say for everything. For religious people, if there were suddenly to be proof that there was no... Oh, my thing stopped. Sorry. If there suddenly came out proof that there was not any God, then yes, that would be rather difficult to process. And conversely, if atheists were to find that the Lord returned, or Jesus or whoever suddenly showed up in Times Square and said, hey, everybody, I'm here, and I've decided I'll just show you all proof of the existence of a supreme being, atheists would have a very rough afternoon. But, even something like that could be gotten through. You could adjust. You could go, okay, I thought I was sure about something, and I clearly wasn't. So, I mean, I say that like, not everybody would probably react that way. Some people would probably not be able to withstand that change at all, which is too bad. I think it is very valuable to keep a small piece of your mind always kind of operating of the mode of, I might be wrong about everything. Not necessarily have to think that way by default, but just allow for the possibility that there are things, that there are variances in understanding and knowledge, pockets of perhaps misunderstanding or misconstruement, I don't know if that's a word, that could allow many foundational beliefs to be incorrect. It's not necessarily a bad thing. Doesn't mean that somehow you're a bad person. If you got something wrong, if you're malicious about it, sure. But I don't know. It's kind of like everything. I look at it, I think about some of the things that people say to each other, and if it was, I'm babbling on here, but I guess what else do you do in a stream but babble on? I think I've articulated some of this before anyway, so I'm just probably repeating myself, which is not what anybody really wants, including me. Almost done with the Sandman series. That's a complete non sequitur. It's really good. Really good. We'll see if it survives to another season. I just pulled on one of my hairs really hard. I hope it will. It's reviewing very well, but as we know, that doesn't mean anything to Netflix, so we'll see. I was having a discussion with somebody about Disney Plus. Disney Plus is apparently raising all their rates. And this individual was trying to make a case to me that Disney needed to raise their rates because they're taking a loss on the Disney Plus streaming service. And my response to that was, I believe that Disney last year or this year, one or the other, made somewhere in the neighborhood of $6 billion plus. Not six even, they made more than six. And a company that's making that much money can't be operating at a loss. I don't care what they say. So, but I don't know. I was kind of floored by that logic that a company that could make billions of dollars could possibly be operating at a loss. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm sure they say that. I have no doubt that Disney will say, for various tax reasons, shareholders' reasons, that they're operating Disney Plus at a loss. But I'm sorry, if you as a company make $6 billion plus dollars, you're not operating at a loss. You're just not. I don't care what you tell your tax people, you're not operating at a loss. And any system that allows it to be like you are is made up of monopoly money. Okay, ridges are done. That's great. I like the ridges a lot. Now, is that the same size as this? No, this is bigger, so this is probably a 5, I'm going to say. Yes. Ridges are done. I enjoy those ridges. That looks good. Okay. So, let's go back to our detail stuff. So, rings, not ridges, rings. Is that this? Yes. We'll go to details 3. Let's keep working in our little stuff here. Just little lines that indicate wear and tear on the skull. Do a little ridge stuff like this. Nothing really too formal about it, just making lines where they seem to work. Making little pittances. Squiggles. You don't want to put too many, though. You do too many and it does start to look a little funny. So you want to have some type of a... spacing is the wrong word, but you want to have some negative space in here. So you don't want to have everything crowded on itself. Not too many of these lines on top of one another. Of course, what too many is up to you. So some people will look at this and say, you don't have enough lines. And for them, I don't. For me, I have enough. And there are certain things, I'm just doing little outline type stuff around some of the edges too. But you can see, okay, there's the blank and there's the... See those little lines? They add a lot. They're worth doing. And the teeth will... I think the teeth I'll do something like this to kind of indicate the actual tooth marks. Actually, I could just do it. This is a detail thing, so I'll do a little bit of this. Yep, just do a little of that. So you give it a little bit of a pocket to the teeth. Give it a little bit of a secondary dimension. Not like that, though. You know, you can do all kinds of stuff with this. But there, right there, that gives the teeth some... texture. I like that word, texture. When it comes to images, this texture. Oh, my dog is keenly aware of the time, and this is her normal time to eat her evening meal. But she can wait a little bit. It's not a big deal. This animal will never starve. As long as I'm alive, this dog does not have to be concerned about getting food. She is well fed. No matter what she may say with her eyes otherwise, she is well fed. Now, this is an interesting consideration. Do I leave the gray parts independent of the detail marks? I think for now I'm going to. I don't know if that's going to be a permanent decision, but for right now, no squiggles within the dark gray areas. With the exception of the teeth, because they're kind of a special case. Teeth, I'm not going to worry. That's different. In the main skull, I think I'm going to avoid putting any little lines or any type of, what do you call it, pock marks inside of the actual dark gray areas. Do some line work there. Actually, hold on. Let me fix that. I don't like that dot. Do this. I like to be lines. Dots kind of just look like accidents. Doesn't look like he did it on purpose. So, let's see here. Oh, I will say while I'm on the stream, I'm going to record a 5 on this too, but I am putting, I think I've mentioned these are all going on YouTube, but I have now created a second YouTube channel in addition to the first one for the show, because I had a couple of people tell me that they really wanted to let their kids watch the streams, whether live or on YouTube. Most of the time, people can't catch them live. Problem is the show's YouTube, the normal show YouTube, it does have a lot of very mature content on it, because a lot of what's on there is Lando and I playing video games, and it's a co-op thing that we do, and we frequently employ some very salty language, words that most children don't need to hear for quite a while. And so they're reluctant to, have their kids go to that site. And I understand that. I didn't have any problem with that. Made sense to me. So I've created another YouTube channel that is going to be mostly just focused on artwork. Stuff like this. So I'm posting the streams on there. And some of my time-lapse stuff that is on the main page. So if you've seen it there already, it's not going to be too new. Not much of it anyway. But I found out something stupid, and this is because I don't use YouTube a lot. I'm not a YouTuber. I wouldn't even call myself a streamer, really, because I don't do it enough. Streamers make this an occupation. So I'm merely a floater on the stream itself. But in any event, you can have custom names on YouTube, where it'll be, youtube.com/Professor Plum, whatever. But, and I was digging around, I'm trying to figure out, okay, how do I create the name? Because you have to do a verification thing for uploading videos, otherwise you can only upload so many a day, and that stuff makes sense. I get that. They're trying to prevent spam. There's a lot of spam, and they're trying to root that out. So I don't have any problem with that, but I'm sitting there going, okay, how do I get the custom name? Like, how do I switch this to youtube.com/OzoneArtFoundry? Because that's ideally what I'd like to have. I'm digging them. And YouTube is, it's a Google company, so they don't really document things that well. But I finally found the page. I shouldn't say that. They do document things well, but trying to get to that documentation can be a adventure in guess the right link sometimes. So that's what I mean. Their documentation is actually fine. It's good. Getting to it, finding the place you need to be, yeah, less good. In any event, I found it, and it says, okay, you have to have 100 subscribers and, be a channel for more than 30 days. I get that part. The 30 days thing, yeah, I'm sure they have lots of accounts that open and then post 3 videos and then never do anything again. And I understand they don't want to reward that behavior. No platform wants to have that type of user. You want long-term users who are often in there. So I get that part. The 100 users thing, though, assumes a lot, because I don't know that I'm ever going to get to 100 subscribers of anything, really. So that's kind of annoying to me. So I actually recorded a 5, and I'm like, hey, everybody, if you don't mind, could you go subscribe to the YouTube channel? Even if, hopefully once you get it, they don't revoke it, and I can just tell these people, all right, you can unsubscribe now. But it's really stupid. You can be a legitimate channel with a very small following. That means you don't get to have a custom name. And it's not going to cost Google anything. Give me a break. These companies make so much money. I don't want to be hearing that it's a hardship for them to do stuff like they can do it. Let people have custom names. Not have to have 100 subscribers. That just feels like a way to make you go crazy trying to get people to sub to your channel. Because of course that benefits YouTube. And I don't like it. I don't like it. So I did a 5 where I said to people, could you do it? And I don't even like doing that. Yeah. I was not thrilled doing that particular 5. I did it, but I don't know. I wasn't thrilled about it. I was like, this is kind of icky, man. I don't like asking people to do stuff like that. Because they don't. I'm not big into the whole marketing thing. And I know that's probably stupid, the idea that people will find good content, they'll find it organically. Oh, well, yeah, they do and they don't. I know. I'm sort of a self-defeating idiot that way. I get it. Still don't like it. Just don't like it. I don't know. It's kind of like when you have to, what's the word for it? For, if you ever have to do work performance evaluations and you're supposed to point out what you did, that always seems weird to me too, because I sit here and go, people should know whether you do your job or not. We have to sit there and bullet out what we did for people to be able to say, oh, you're worth being paid, or perhaps get a raise. Not even get a raise necessarily, but just be paid. Oh, we have to demonstrate that you did something. Well, look, if you don't know that I'm doing something, then you got a serious issue here. How are you employing people if you don't know that they're actually doing their work? I don't know. That seems a little strange that we have this kind of relationship to work and people where you have to prove that you're doing work. Okay. That's odd to me. But sure, whatever. I don't ever have to worry about it. I do work. But it's odd. I find it to be, sorry again about the yawning. I find that to be one of these weird things about work is performance. Performance reviews in general are, I think, pointless. Again, I don't think a performance review that I've ever had in my life has ever actually provided valuable anything. Not really. And maybe that's because I've never had a problem talking to people and saying, okay, what do you need me to do? Maybe performance reviews benefit those who are extraordinarily shy. But again, there's something where I sit there and go, well, shouldn't the manager be able to take care of that? Isn't that the point of having... What is the point of a manager if that stuff isn't handled by that person? I don't know. What do I know? I don't know nothing. I noticed that there's some white issues here, so we're going to fix those right now. But how did I get to performance evaluations? I don't even know how that came up. I don't know where that came from. Obviously, I was talking about something, and I wandered into that, but I don't really know what it was that I was talking. What was I talking about? Oh, who cares? Doesn't matter. Doesn't impact the drawing at all, so what does it matter? Okay. So there's some teeth. Got some teeth lines. Okay. Got to do a little bit of teeth wearing up here, too. We're going to do some straight lines for this. I kind of like this. I've done this a few times with teeth. Or just kind of... I'm sure I saw this. I'm sure somebody in comic books or something did this similar type of thing, but I like it. This kind of streakiness to teeth. So I got to give them the ridge lines and all that stuff. I like it. So, whoever I ripped it off from, sorry I ripped it off from you. But it's a nice technique, so thank you. I shouldn't say ripped off. It's not, I don't think I'm doing it the exact same way as somebody else. But I'm pretty sure I saw some version of this somewhere. Okay. Can do this one a little... Oh, no. I don't like that bump. Let's move this. There we go. This one can come up and meet a little bit. There we are. There we are. Yep. Which probably means I should do that for... No. Oh, you know what? I'll do it like this. There. That works. Kind of just bring it up, and I like moving it into the... Here it wouldn't really make sense, but where I can use the spacing to... Not spacing, but the shape of the teeth to kind of indicate a few things. Yeah, that's good. Oh, wow, we're approaching the 50-minute mark. Really? No, this is a pretty long one then. Yeah. Well, then what we'll probably do, we'll finish up with the teeth, I think. Because I know my dog is giving me a stink eye from the other room. Sitting there going, should have fed me about 10 minutes ago. And one thing, if you have pets, appetite is a good sign. That's a sign of health. When your animals want to eat, they're in good shape. So I don't want to belittle her appetite. Don't want to come off like I'm, oh, I wish you wouldn't eat. Oh, I certainly don't wish that. Appetite in pets is a good thing. I don't like that line. We'll get rid of that. It's a very good thing. So I'm not criticizing the appetite. I did notice something. What did I just notice? I thought I saw something missing or whatever. No, maybe not. I can't find it. So whatever it was, it apparently wasn't that big a deal. Okay, that's fine. Yeah. So, yeah, let's go ahead and bring it to a close here. This is a good spot. So, does that pick that up? A little bit. Okay. We'll stop here because we're doing well, right? So even if I turn this detail thing off, I still like this. But the ridge lines are a big thing. I really like those lines. I really like those lines. So far, things are going smoothly, which I am happy about. We'll see if that's how it finishes out. But, yeah, very, very so far pleased with where this thing is heading. So, hopefully it stays that way. Okay, going to wrap up here. And hope you enjoyed a extra couple streams. First one was a little short, I'll admit. But this one, a little more of what we normally expect out of this. Boy, I like this skull. Boy, I like this skull. Anyway, have a nice rest of whatever this is for you. Whether it is a... I think the only place that's... Pardon me again for yawning, I'm sorry. I think the only thing is Japan is ahead. I'm pretty sure it's the next day. So if you're in Japan, enjoy the rest of your Thursday or the beginning of your Thursday, whatever it is. Everywhere else, have a good rest of your Wednesday for however much there is left of it for you. That's the right way to phrase it. And I hope you enjoyed stopping by the stream and watching me doodle some stuff. We will continue this. I don't know when the next stream is going to be offhand. I'm trying to stick with the Tuesday streams pretty consistently. That way there is at least some regularity to it. As far as stuff like tonight, this just happened to work out. Wednesdays may end up working out more. It just depends. We'll see how some things go. And yeah, that's where I'll leave it. So again, thanks for stopping by. And if you're watching this later, thanks for watching this later. I'm going to tweet out that new YouTube channel so people can find it. And I think that's it. So, yeah. Thanks for stopping by. Enjoy the rest of your day in whatever part of the day you're in. I never quite know how to end it so I can encompass all the time zones and days and everything. I'll figure that out. Don't think it's exactly a high priority. Anyway, thanks for stopping by and have a good one. Bye, everybody.